Hello guys, I'm back again, and it is November 3rd, 2011. It's about 11:28 p.m. Pacific time where I live on the west coast of the United States. And it's about 1:21 a.m. in Spain. The reason why I have that clock up because what you're looking at is an aerial graphic of an earthquake map for El Hierro within the Canary Islands. And these orange plots right here are representations of the most recent quakes within the last 24 hours as of about, I'd say, 1 o'clock. And the reason why I'm bringing these most recent earthquake plots to your attention is not because of the increasing seismic activity there today, which is pretty significant, but more so to point out how and where they're occurring. Now, this has deeply disturbed me. This is something that I've noticed over the last few days in a few different parts of the world where there's a few swarms, this being one of them, another one being in Turkey, which I'll show you later. However, what I wanted to point out here is that this is something very peculiar, but it seems that these earthquakes are occurring on some kind of patterned grid. Now, if you look at them, you can see they look kind of, well, let's see, here's a diagonal line, and here's a vertical line, and then a few horizontal lines. Now, to better illustrate this, I'm going to turn on a graphic for you and show you what I mean. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this seems highly peculiar to me. Highly peculiar. I mean, you can see that pretty much these are almost perfect squares, but even if they're not perfect squares and rectangles, they're still pretty much equidistant points on each of the corners of the squares. It's just really crazy how these earthquakes are occurring right at these points on this grid that I overlapped here in the Bay of El Golfo. Now, there's only really one thing that this leads me to believe, that this is some, believe it or not, some kind of, I want to say, man-made event, possibly, which is a little bit scary to me. This is why I'm bringing it to your attention, and I'm trying to collect some ideas from anyone to see, maybe if it's just me or going crazy or what. Anyway, so basically what I'm predicting here, if this continues to happen this way, because this has been happening over the last 12 hours, 24 hours, even beyond that. I have some graphics that I'll show after this, I don't know, in this video or the next, of previous days where I've captured these plot points here, and again, they're on a patterned grid. It's really crazy. So my prediction is that future plots beyond, I don't know, whenever I took this at 1 a.m. will end up on these intersecting points of this grid. I'm sure there will be, I don't know, at least a few, maybe not all, but a few more. I don't know if this is like an exact occurrence here of this happening this way, but it's just really strange to me. So let me expand this grid, and this is where I'm projecting. It could be like, this is just, whatever, this area. I'm thinking, like any of these points is next. This is where the next earthquake will occur, at any of these points. I was thinking, well, if it's not a man-made generated thing that is causing these earthquakes to happen at these points, since it's on a grid, it's occurring on a grid pattern, then The only other thing I could think of is that the instruments reading these earthquakes are somehow, I want to say, rounding the distances or the points of latitude, longitude, looking down this way anyway on the grid, inaccurately. It's like kind of like, I don't know, how, well, let's see if you've ever used a program where you're moving around little graphics over a grid, and you can have the graphic snap to, you know, the increment of measurement, so that everything is lined up, you know, perfectly for you. Well, the thing is that if it is this other thing where it is snapping these occurrences, these earthquakes points, to some kind of grid within the algorithm of the program that's picking them up, or the seismograph machine, whatever, then that means that that machine and software is not giving accurate information. So how can we trust it? And if it's not that, then why are these things occurring this way? And it seems to me, well, I'm going to give you a clue of something more possible than the software error or seismograph machine. What I think it's leaning towards is this. What do you have here? You have the HAARP transmitter, and you have a little graphic here of basically how the transmitter is involved with other various components, a satellite in space, and how it bounces around these waves through the various layers of the atmosphere using ionospheric technology, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm thinking that since these are man-made, machine-generated, that's why they're occurring on a grid pattern. I really don't know unless this is incredibly coincidental, because imagine just randomly, okay, throwing, how many dots do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Down onto a table that has this same grid. Now, what are the chances of those 11 dots, okay, all landing on corners of the grid? That's just crazy. I already know I don't have to do the calculations in my head or on paper or on a calculator to figure out that it would be very, 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 very unlikely. Okay, so now let me just point you to a few other things that I've come across in the past that I would like to make a video about in the future concerning these guys. These cards that were taken from a game that was created in 1995. Okay, now there is a huge story behind this set of card games, this Illuminati card game, that is just incredible. Basically, like how these cards have depicted current events right now, things that are happening within the last few years even, are accurately being represented within these cards. It is crazy. Like, it's all been planned out ahead of time. It is absolutely astonishing. And I just had to put this on the side because, well, I mean, these all kind of point to this very possibility. We have the weather satellite. That would be, you know, this component up here. And then you have the earthquake projector card, which is kind of depicting, this card is depicting this machine, earthquake machine, kind of shooting down these vibrational rays or whatever into the earth. And I'm thinking, well, you know, why couldn't you have something like that up here? So, you know, that would kind of make up your HAARP system. And then over here, you just have like foreshadowings, or I'm going to say even threats or potential weapons of alluding to what an enemy can do to its victim. So we have here an earthquake. So, like, why would this card be in this deck unless there was a possibility of you being able to create an earthquake? Because you can't just throw an earthquake randomly on someone if it's naturally occurring. So why would this be in this game like this? And then again, you have another supposedly naturally occurring catastrophe, a tidal wave, which is obviously really a tsunami, being used as well in this game on an opponent or enemy. And well, you can kind of string all these together and have a situation possibly where someone intentionally, a group is intentionally creating these earthquakes, which are being given away, of them doing them because of this pattern, actually, I just noticed. And being done through these various mechanisms. Now, I don't know. I'm just saying, it just seems, you know, kind of crazy to me that this is like this. And I have to update this time. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. The initial time that it showed 1:20 was the time that I pulled this graph from the internet off of globalincidentmap.com, and the actual time that I'm recording this right now is 2:50 a.m. in Spain's time zone. So anyway, I'm just saying that what are the chances of this kind of pattern emerging, you know, in nature with earthquakes like this? It just seems extremely peculiar, and something's going on here. Something's behind this. It's either bad data or these things are happening like this because it's being manipulated through man-made devices. So I don't know exactly. I'm just throwing this out there right now, just to try to bring this to people's attention, to see if anyone has any input on this, to see if anybody thinks it means anything else, or if they can debunk this thing or explain this thing or whatever. So anyway, if you guys can shoot me back messages on my channel, write comments on my message board, copy this video and mirror it, send it to people, download it, talk about it, anything, and try to get me some feedback. I would greatly appreciate it. So there's that, but hold on, I just also wanted to show you that I noticed this occurrence on more than one day, and also more than one place. So allow me to show you another example real quick before I go. Dudes, this shit is whacked.